Good morning. This is John from the Springs Mennonite Church. Well, I'm here with you at the end of the week, and I've been talking about Psalms. And today I want to finish with a psalm that's probably really familiar to you, Psalm 23. But rather than look at the whole psalm, I just want to look at one verse, and that's verse 5. It says here, "You prepare a feast for me in the presence of my enemies. You honor me by anointing my head with oil. My cup overflows with blessings." Now let's ask the question, what does "you prepare a feast for me in the presence of my enemies" mean? Is it literally talking about sitting down to a meal when those who are trying to devour you are standing right around the table? Well, might be. Um, Kind of reminds me of some of those movie things where the guy who's about to be destroyed, excuse me, sits down and ties his shoe first or something. Kind of reminds me of that crazy joke about if a bear comes after you, you and your friend, what do you do? Well, the one guy says, "We got to run." The other guy says, "No, we don't have to run." He says, "What do you mean you don't have to run?" "No, we don't have to run." "Well, what are we going to do?" He says, "All I have to do is outrun you." You know, the picture here is you are being attacked. And while you're being attacked, I mean, the imagery of people, enemies trying to devour you while you're being attacked, instead of fighting, which would be the expected response, that's what you would think you should do. Instead of fighting, you sit down and you quietly, you patiently eat a meal. Now, it says a feast, so we're not talking about peanut butter and jelly sandwiches here. Sit down and eat a full course, 7 course, 8 course meal at the same time that your enemies are trying to attack you. Now, think about that for a minute. How in the world could you do that? Who in their right mind would do that? But this is exactly what the psalm says God is doing for us. Now, it goes on to say that you honor me by anointing my head with oil. Part of the ritual of recognizing nobility and specialness in the Old Testament was to pour oil, to douse them. And I don't mean just a drop or two. I know sometimes at the beginning of Lent, you'll take a finger of oil and make a cross on your forehead or something. We're talking about buckets, just being inundated with oil. It says that you prepare, you honor me by anointing my head with oil, and my cup overflows with blessings. I got so much of this stuff. It's overflowing. Well, again, does he literally mean that somebody's going to dump all this oil over you and it just drips all over everything? I picture someone with a big bucket of oil like they do when you win a ball game, a championship or something. They dump you with the Gatorade. Well, in this case, they're going to dump you with oil. I don't think that's what it means, but it's a good image. because it gives us a picture of the overwhelming presence of God. And where is that presence? Well, it says, in the presence of my enemies. So, who are your enemies today? Who are our enemies? Well, it could be people. I mean, I've had people who didn't like me. I've had people who attacked me verbally. Never been attacked physically. But I've had people who've worked really hard to make sure I don't succeed. Maybe you're attacked by a physical illness. I've had that too. I've been so sick I couldn't walk 10 feet without collapsing and being shocked and being so exhausted. Maybe it's being attacked by worry. Well, I've been that way too. It's a time in my life when my wife left, and it was just really, really hard. But in all of those moments, I really have felt that God was still there. Now, I have to be honest and say, when the first few times happened, I didn't respond very well. I mean, I'm human, just like everybody else is. But over the years, as I learned more and more about God, I responded better. Now, I'd like to tell you that whatever happens today, I can just sit down and relax. Well, that's not really true. I'm bothered by a lot of things. Uh, I'm bothered by people suffering, and I wish I could fix it, but I can't. I'm bothered by people who are angry at others. They're angry with me, and I wish I could fix it, but I can't. But what I can do is what this psalm says: allow the Lord to sit me down, fix me a feast, anoint me with oil, so much so that I overflow. You see, this psalm is talking about a time in your life when trouble attacks. And when that trouble attacks, instead of giving into the fight mode or the flight mode, we should give into the quiet mode. Now, I don't mean the quiet that allows anger to grow. I'm talking about the quiet mode. It simply says, God's in charge. Because he really is, whether we notice it or not. So today in your life, I'd like to invite you, as we come to the weekend, to think about, where are you in relationship to your troubles? Are they overwhelming you, or are you resting in the presence of God? You do the latter, and he'll take care of the troubles, and you'll know he's doing it. Well, thanks for listening. If you have a concern or need, let us know. We'll do whatever we can as fast as we can to help meet your need. God bless you. Have a great weekend. I'll talk to you again on Monday.